What if the most common health advice you've been given your entire life, eat more fruit, fruit is always good for you, fruit is nature's medicine, is only half the story? What if some of the fruits sitting in your kitchen right now, fruits you reach for every single morning, believing you're doing something right, are quietly working against the very hormone responsible for your energy, your drive, your muscle, your mood, and your sense of yourself as a man? I know that's not what you expected to hear today, but stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you is not opinion, it's biology. And once you understand it, you will never look at your fruit bowl the same way again. I'm Dr. Fiona Gray, a urologist with 12 years of experience helping men over 50 reclaim their vitality, strength, and confidence. I've worked with thousands of men who walked into my clinic convinced their best days were behind them. Men who were eating well, trying to do the right things, and still couldn't understand why they felt so flat, so tired, so unlike themselves. And time and again, when we looked closely at the details of what they were consuming, fruit, specifically which fruits and how they were eating them, was a variable nobody had ever thought to examine. Today, we're going to examine it. 4 fruits that genuinely support testosterone production in men over 50, and 4 that research shows can undermine it. This is one of the most practical conversations I can have with you, because the changes are immediate, accessible, and entirely within your control starting today. Before we get into it, hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love knowing which part of the world these conversations are reaching. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps more men find this information. Now let's talk about what's actually happening inside your body, because the fruit conversation only makes sense once you understand the hormonal landscape you're working with after 50. Testosterone doesn't simply fall off a cliff when you hit a certain age. What actually happens is more like a slow siege. Aromatase, an enzyme that converts your testosterone directly into estrogen, becomes more active as you age, and body fat accelerates that process further. Sex hormone-binding globulin, the protein that latches onto testosterone and makes it biologically unavailable, increases. Leydig cells in your testes, the specialized cells that manufacture testosterone, become more vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation. And sitting beneath all of this is chronic cortisol elevation, the stress hormone that acts as testosterone's most persistent enemy, suppressing production at the hormonal signaling level. What you eat every day is communicating with every single one of these systems. Most men have been told that diet affects testosterone through protein and fat. Very few have been told it affects testosterone through fruit. And that gap in knowledge is costing men their vitality in ways that are genuinely reversible. Fruit number 1 that works for you: pomegranate. Here is the biology. Pomegranate is one of the most potent natural aromatase inhibitors identified in nutritional research. It's rich in elagitannins, which your gut converts into compounds called urolithins, and these compounds have demonstrated a meaningful ability to reduce aromatase activity, meaning less of your testosterone gets hijacked and converted into estrogen. A clinical study published in Endocrine Connections tracked men consuming pomegranate juice daily for 2 weeks and found salivary testosterone levels increased by up to 24% in some participants. That is not a trivial number. The same study noted improvements in mood, self-reported energy, and blood pressure, all of which connect directly to the nitric oxide pathway that pomegranate also supports. Here's what that means for how you feel. The men I work with who add pomegranate consistently describe a gradual but noticeable shift. Not dramatic overnight transformation, but a return of something, a steadiness, a drive that had gone quiet starting to come back. One patient, Robert, 63, a retired contractor who came in complaining of what he called feeling like a passenger in his own body, added 4 ounces of pomegranate juice to his morning routine and told me 6 weeks later that he'd started going back to the gym. Not because I told him to, because he wanted to again. Practically, 4 to 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice, not from concentrate, 3 to 4 mornings per week. Alternatively, the whole fruit. If juice, pair it with protein to moderate the sugar impact. Fruit number 2 that works for you: avocado. Avocado is botanically a fruit, and it belongs firmly in the pro-testosterone category for two reasons most men don't know. First, testosterone is synthesized from cholesterol, and that synthesis requires dietary fat as a substrate. The monounsaturated fats in avocado are among the most bioavailable and hormonally supported fats available in any whole food. Second, avocado is one of the better whole food sources of boron, a trace mineral that research has linked to increased free testosterone, reduced estrogen levels, and decreased sex hormone-binding globulin. A study in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology found men supplementing with boron showed significantly higher free testosterone within 1 week. Avocado delivers that boron, alongside the fat matrix your body needs to actually use it. Emotionally, the significance of free testosterone, not just total testosterone, but the fraction your body can actually access and use, is enormous. Men with low free testosterone experience reduced motivation, physical confidence, and that hard-to-name sense of vitality that makes you want to engage with your life. Avocado is one of the most underappreciated tools for protecting that fraction. Practically, half an avocado 3 to 4 times per week. Add it to eggs in the morning, to a lunch salad, or simply with a little salt as an afternoon snack. Consistent inclusion over weeks is what produces results, not occasional use. Fruit number 3 that works for you: kiwi. Small, inexpensive, and almost universally overlooked in the testosterone conversation. Kiwi is one of the highest whole food sources of vitamin C available, and vitamin C's relationship to testosterone health runs through cortisol. Chronically elevated cortisol suppresses luteinizing hormone, the pituitary signal that initiates testosterone production in your testes. Multiple studies have shown that adequate vitamin C intake significantly reduces cortisol response to both physical and psychological stress. Beyond cortisol, vitamin C is a direct antioxidant protector of Leydig cells, the cells producing your testosterone, which become increasingly vulnerable to oxidative damage as you age. Research has demonstrated that the cortisol-reducing and Leydig protective benefits of vitamin C are achievable at levels that 2 kiwis per day reliably provide. James, 58, came to me with what he described as stress that never fully went away, a low hum of tension that had become so constant he'd stopped recognizing it as abnormal. We made several changes, but the one he noticed first was the dietary shift toward foods that actively supported cortisol regulation. Within a month, his sleep had improved and his morning energy had changed enough that his wife commented on it unprompted. Practically, 2 kiwis as an afternoon snack 5 days a week. Eat the skin if you can tolerate it. It contains additional fiber and antioxidant compounds. This is one of the cheapest and most consistent interventions available. Fruit number 4 that works for you: figs. Fresh or dried in small amounts, figs offer something most men over 50 are quietly deficient in: zinc and magnesium together in a single whole food source. Zinc is a direct enzymatic cofactor in testosterone synthesis. Without adequate zinc, the production process is biochemically impaired, regardless of how well everything else is functioning. Magnesium reduces sex hormone-binding globulin activity, freeing up more of the testosterone you're producing to actually be used by your body. Studies in men with deficiencies in both minerals, which research suggests affects the majority of men over 50, show that restoring adequate levels produces clinically meaningful testosterone increases. Figs deliver both in an absorbable whole food form, alongside amino acid precursors that support broader hormonal health. Practically, a small handful of dried figs, 6 to 8, 2 to 3 times per week as a snack or alongside breakfast. Fresh figs when in season are excellent. Avoid figs packed in sugar syrup, which introduces a counterproductive glycemic load. Now let's talk about the fruits that are working against you. And I want to be clear about something before we start. This section is not about fear. It is about information. Armed with this, you make better choices. That's all. Fruit number 1 that works against you: processed fruit juice. This is perhaps the most important item on this list because it's the one most men feel confident about. Orange juice with breakfast feels healthy. It has been marketed as healthy for decades. But here is what processed fruit juice actually delivers. Concentrated fructose without fiber, hitting your bloodstream rapidly, creating an insulin spike that suppresses luteinizing hormone and over time contributes to insulin resistance and visceral fat accumulation. Visceral fat is itself hormonally active. It produces estrogen through aromatase activity, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of hormonal disruption. Research published in Reproductive Toxicology found that high fructose consumption was specifically associated with impaired Leydig cell function and reduced testosterone. The fruit itself, eaten whole with its fiber intact, is a meaningfully different metabolic event. The juice is not the fruit. Eat the orange, put down the glass. Fruit number 2 that works against you: canned fruit in syrup. The fruit itself may be nutritionally reasonable. The syrup it swims in is not. Heavy and light syrups are concentrated sugar solutions that produce sharp insulin spikes, suppress luteinizing hormone, promote visceral fat storage, and accelerate the aromatase activity that converts testosterone into estrogen. Men who eat canned fruit and syrup regularly, believing they are making a healthy choice, are introducing a consistent hormonal disruption they have no idea they're dealing with. The fix is straightforward. If canned fruit is convenient or accessible, choose varieties packed in their own juice or in water. That single label change removes the problem entirely. Fruit number 3 that works against you: large portions of high glycemic dried fruit. Dates, raisins, dried mango, and similar products are nutritionally dense, and in small amounts they are not problematic for most men. The issue is portion and context. Eaten in large handfuls, the way many men snack on them, believing they're choosing wisely over processed snacks, they deliver a concentrated glycemic load that produces the same insulin and cortisol disruption I described above. Men with metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, or significant insulin resistance, all conditions highly prevalent in the 50-plus population, are particularly sensitive to this effect. A small amount of dried fruit is not a crisis. A daily bowl of it is a hormonal headwind you are creating for yourself unnecessarily. Fruit number 4 that works against you: grapefruit in specific circumstances. This one is not universally applicable, and I want to be precise. Grapefruit itself is nutritionally valuable. It contains compounds that support metabolism, antioxidant activity, and even some hormonal pathways. The issue is an interaction. Grapefruit contains furanocoumarins that inhibit CYP3A4, an enzyme your liver uses to metabolize a wide range of medications. Many men over 50 are on statins, certain blood pressure medications, or other drugs that interact with this pathway. When CYP3A4 is inhibited, medication concentrations in your bloodstream rise unpredictably, creating unintended effects that can include hormonal disruption depending on the specific drug. If you are not on any interacting medications, grapefruit is not a concern for you. If you are, and many of my patients are without knowing which of their medications interact, this is a conversation worth having with your physician before grapefruit stays in your regular rotation. Here is your simple action plan. Step 1. Add. Starting this week, incorporate pomegranate juice 3 mornings a week, half an avocado 3 to 4 times a week, 2 kiwis in the afternoon on most days, and a small handful of figs as your sweet snack of choice. These are not dramatic changes. They are consistent signals to your hormonal system that compound over weeks. Step 2. Swap. Replace your morning juice with whole fruit or a fiber-containing smoothie. Move away from canned fruit and syrup entirely. Choose water or juice-packed instead. Reduce large portions of dried fruit to small, intentional amounts. Step 3. Check. If you are on regular medications, have a brief conversation with your physician about grapefruit interaction. It takes 3 minutes and removes a variable that is entirely unnecessary to carry. That is it. No supplement stack, no expensive protocol, a fruit bowl that is working for you instead of against you. I want to say something to the men who have been doing everything right. eating what they believed was a healthy diet, trying to take care of themselves, and still feeling like their body isn't responding the way it should. That experience is real, and it is not a character failure. The information available to most men about hormonal nutrition is genuinely incomplete. Nobody told you that the juice you've been drinking every morning might be suppressing the hormone you're trying to protect. Nobody mapped the connection between the glycemic load of your afternoon snack and the testosterone your body is trying to produce that night. You were not given the full picture. You have it now. And what the evidence consistently shows, what I have seen across 12 years and thousands of patients, is that the body's capacity to respond to the right inputs does not disappear after 50. It does not disappear after 60. The hormonal system remains responsive. The trajectory remains negotiable. Men who make these kinds of targeted, evidence-backed adjustments feel it. Not immediately, not dramatically, but consistently and meaningfully over the weeks that follow. You are not broken. You are not done. Your body is waiting for the right conditions, and you are more capable of creating those conditions than you have been led to believe. Like this video, leave a comment telling me which of these 8 fruits surprised you most. Share it with a man in your life who is serious about his health after 50, and subscribe for evidence-backed conversations like this one every week. I'm Dr. Fiona Gray, reminding you that after 50, vitality isn't lost, it's waiting to be awakened. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.